Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, January 8th, 2023. Today we're going to recap the Week 18 NFL games, college basketball, NBA, NHL, college football, soccer, golf, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with football. The playoffs are now set. The results are done. And we know who's playing who in the postseason. Saturday, Steelers over the Ravens 17-10. Texans over the Colts 23-19. And then yesterday, Bucks over the Panthers 9-0. Bengals over the Browns 31-14. Lions over the Vikings 30-20. Jets over the Patriots 17-3. Saints over the Falcons 48-17. Titans over the Jaguars 28-20. Seahawks over the Cardinals 21-20. Packers over the Bears 17-9. Chiefs over the Chargers 13-12. Giants over the Eagles 27-10. Raiders over the Broncos 27-14. Rams over the 49ers 21-20. Cowboys over the Commanders 38-10. Bills over the Dolphins 21-14 on Sunday Night Football. So we now know what the playoffs are going to be. So your buys are the Niners and the Ravens. And then over the weekend coming up, we have the wild cards. We have the 4:30 on NBC. We have the Browns at the Texans. And at 8:15 on Peacock, we have the Dolphins at the Chiefs. So Tyreek Hill back in Kansas City. Woo! That's great. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Steelers at the Bills. Steelers got blown out there last year. Not this season. That was last season they got blown out there. And then the year before, remember, they went in there and beat the Bills. When the Bills were a 6.5-point favorite in Week 1. So this is the third year in a row where they're playing in Buffalo, but this time it's in the postseason. And then 4:30 on Fox is Packers-Cowboys. So Mike McCarthy against his old team. And then Sunday night, you have the Lions hosting the Rams. So Matt Stafford back in Detroit, and then obviously Jared Goff against the team that drafted him first overall. And then Monday Night Football, playoff edition, Eagles at Buccaneers, 8 o'clock on ABC. So that is the second year in a row the Bucs are in that spot against the NFC East second place finisher. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot to talk about, and I am looking forward to it. College basketball, we will recap the weekend's results and look ahead to a small window for tonight. We'll be given Friday. For UConn over Butler, 88-81. Niagara over Manhattan, 81-67. St. Peter's over Iona, 69-57. Fairfield over Siena, 93-69. Mount St. Mary over Canisius, 74-69. Toledo over Miami of Ohio, 68-64. Quinnipiac over Rider, 88-84. Number 1 Purdue over number 9 Illinois, 83-78. Akron over Bowling Green, 83-67. And Boise State over San Jose State, 78-69. Saturday, we're just going to do results from the big conferences and other notables. Seton Hall upsets number 7 Marquette, 78-75. Number 8 North Carolina over number 16 Clemson, 65-55. Pitt over Louisville, 83-70. Iowa over Rutgers, 86-77. Georgetown over DePaul, 68-65. South Carolina over Mississippi State, 68-62. LaSalle over Fordham, 81-76. Number 6 Kentucky over Florida, 87-85. St. John's over Villanova, 81-71. Georgia over Missouri, 75-68. Number 2 Kansas over TCU, 83-81. That was close. Number 3 Houston over West Virginia, 89-55. Creighton over number 23 Providence, 69-60. Number 25 Auburn over Arkansas, 83-51. NC State over Virginia, 76-60. North Texas over Tulane, 70-56. Drexel over William & Mary, 77-55. George Mason over St. Louis, 79-67. Princeton over Harvard, 89-58. Number 21 Wisconsin over Nebraska, 88-72. Wake over Miami, 86-82 in OT. Number 18 Baylor over Oklahoma State, 75-70 in OT. Southern Miss upsets number 19 James Madison, 81-71. UTSA over Rice, 89-82 in OT. Alabama over Vandy, 78-75. Charlotte upsets number 17 FAU, 70-68. USC over Stanford, 93-79. BC over Georgia Tech, 95-87. Florida State over Virginia Tech, 77-74. San Diego State over UNLV, 72-61. Loyola Chicago over Dayton, 72-67. Richmond over St. Bonaventure, 65-54. George Washington over VCU, 84-82. Norfolk State over SC State, 79-72. UNC Greensboro over East Tennessee State, 70-54. Western Carolina over Wofford, 70-66. Troy over App State, 66-62. Marshall over Texas State, 79-75. Number 5, Tennessee over number 22, Ole Miss, 90-64. Number 11, Oklahoma over Iowa State, 71-63. Number 14, Duke over Notre Dame, 67-59. Washington over Oregon State, 79-72. Kansas State over UCF, 77-52. Western Kentucky over Liberty, 70-68. Nevada over Fresno State, 72-57. Number 10, Arizona over Utah, 92-73. Texas Tech upsets number 20, Texas, 78-67. Arizona State over Colorado, 76-73. Indiana over Ohio State, 71-65. Weber State over Oral Roberts, 83-78. LSU over Texas A&M, 68-53. Utah State over number 13, Colorado State, 77-72. Number 24, Gonzaga over San Diego, 101-74. St. Mary's over LMU, 68-64. Cincinnati upsets number 12, BYU, 71-60. Oregon over Wazoo, 89-84. Cal over UCLA, 66-57. New Mexico over Wyoming, 77-60. Santa Clara over Pepperdine, 78-72. And Santa Barbara over Cal Poly, 61-52. And then yesterday, Penn State over Michigan, 79-73. Temple over Wichita, 68-61. Dayton over UMass, 64-60. Niagara over Iona, 75-73. Youngstown over IUPUI, 75-65. Quinnipiac over Manhattan, 76-59. St. Peter's over Mount St. Mary, 70-64. Fairfield over Marist, 81-61. Rider over Canisius, 79-76 OT. UAB over South Florida, 75-71. ECU over Tulsa, 62-57. Indiana State over Northern Iowa, 77-66. Belmont over Drake, 87-65. UTEP over Chicago State, 74-69. Cleveland State over Northern Kentucky, 88-85 in OT. Number 15, Memphis over SMU, 62-59. Minnesota over Maryland, 65-62. And Northwestern over Michigan State, 88-74. All right, today's games, we have A&M Commerce, New Orleans at 2 o'clock. That was supposed to be an evening game that got bumped. My line is New Orleans by 3 7/8, total 144 and 2/5. And we have here I don't see it. Did FanDuel not adjust? Oh, there it is. 2.5 and 144.5. Very, very close, slightly in New Orleans. CBS Sports Network, Northeastern Monmouth at 7 o'clock. My line is Monmouth 4.5, total 143 and 3/20, and it is 3.5 and 140.5. Over. Howard SC State 7:30. My line is Howard 2 and 3/8, total 154 and 11/20. And 6.5 and 154.5. I'm taking SC State in the points. Delaware State, Morgan State. My line is Delaware State 2.5, total 145 and 9/20, and it's 3.5 and 144.5. Slightly in Morgan State. Norfolk State, NC Central. My line is Central by 7/8, total 139 and 4/5. And it is Pick'em in 137.5. Whew. Over. UMass Coppin State. My line is UMass 1 3/4, total 133 and 3/5. And it is 1.5 and 129.5. Oh, way over. Southeast Louisiana and Nichols. That game is... I can't find that. That's weird. There it is. Miles Nichols by 1 3/4, so 144 and a quarter, and it's 4.5 and 138.5 over. McNeese, Northwestern State. My line is McNeese by 11 3/8 to 145 and a tenth, and it is 19.5 and 142.5. Oof. That's taking Northwestern State in the point. That's way too much. 8 o'clock at Carnetward, Lamar. My line's Lamar by 5 5/8 to 154 and 9/10. And it's 7.5 and 157.5 under. Houston Christian A&M Corpus Christi. Mine's Corpus Christi 6 3/4 to 145 and a 20th. And it's 12.5 and 152.5. Under. Texas Southern Grambling. Mine's Grambling 2.5 to 136 and 4/5. And it's Pick'em in 131.5 over. Bama State Pine Bluff 8:30. Mine's Pine Bluff 2 3/4 to 156 and 3/5. And it's State 2.5 to 151.5. This is a hard one, but I'm going to take Pine Bluff plus the points and plus 120 to win. Bama A&M, Miss Valley State. My line is Bama A&M by 0.5 to 143 and 9/20, and it is 8.5 and 133.5. I have to take the over. Last but not least, 9 o'clock, Prairie View Southern. My line is Southern by 8 to 147 and 11/20, and it's 6.5 and 144.5 over. All the way. Now we'll recap the weekend NBA results and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday, Celtics over the Jazz 126-97. Pacers over the Hawks 150 to 116. So best bet loses barely. Nets over the Thunder 124-115. Cavs over the Wizards 114-90. Knicks over the Sixers 128-92. Bulls over the Hornets 104-91. T-Wolves over the Rockets 132-95. Clips over the Pelicans 111-95. Mavs over the Blazers 139-103. Magic over the Nuggets 122-120. Suns over the Heat 113-97. Warriors over the Pistons 113-109. Grizz over the Lakers 127-113. And the Kings over the Raptors 135-130. Saturday results: Celtics over the Pacers 118-101. Knicks over the Wizards 121-105. Jazz over the Sixers 120-109. Rockets over the Bucks 112-108. Sunday: Cavs over the Spurs 117-115. Blazers over Nets 134-127 OT. Magic over the Hawks 117-110 OT. Pelicans over the Kings 133-130 or 100. Mavs over the T-Wolves 115-108. Nuggets over the Pistons 131-114. Grizz over the Suns 121-115. Raptors over the Wiz 133-118. And the Lakers over the Clippers 106-103. All right, 6 games tonight, 7 o'clock. Bulls Hornets. My line is the Bulls by 10.5, total 225 and a 10th. And we have the Bulls giving 6.5, total 216.5 over. Celtics Pacers again. Thunder Wiz. Mine's the Thunder by 16.5, total 238 and 3/5, and it's 11.5 and 247. 7:30 Rockets Heat. No Jimmy Butler, no Tari Eason. My line is the Heat 5 1/4, total 223 and a quarter, and it's 4 and 218.5. I like the over. 8 o'clock Jazz Bucks. My line is Bucks 7 3/4, total 238 and 11:20. It's no Dame, and it's 10 and 245.5. That's ridiculous. I like the under, but I'll gladly bet the Jazz too. In 10:30 NBA TV, Suns Clippers. My line is the Clippers by 4 1/4, so 225 and 7/10, and it's 5.5 and 226.5, so very, very close. And I'll say slightly Suns for that one. Now we'll recap the NHL games from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday, Devils over the Blackhawks 4-2. Canes over the Caps 6-2. Jets over the Ducks 3-1. Saturday, Flames lose to the Flyers 3-2. Panthers over the Avs 8-4. Bruins over the Lightning 7-3. Canucks over the Devils 6-4. Sabres over the Penguins 3-1. Wild over the Blue Jackets 4-3 OT. Leafs over the Sharks 4-1. Blues over the Canes 2-1 shootout. Habs over the Rangers 4-3 shootout. Preds over the Stars 4-3. Oilers over the Sens 3-1. Golden Knights over the Isles 5-2. And then yesterday, Caps over the Kings 4-3. Blackhawks over the Flames 4-3. Jets over the Coyotes 6-2. Red Wings over the Ducks 3-2. Only 4 games tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We have Canucks Rangers. That's a really good game. Sneaky possibility of a Stanley Cup Finals preview, but unlikely. Rangers are favored, -142. Vancouver's +118. Over under 6.5. Overs -06. Unders -114. Vancouver +1.5 is -100. Rangers -1.5 is +164. I like the over. 2 good offenses. NHL Network, Pens Flyers rivalry game. Pittsburgh's favored. That's ridiculous. They're -122. Flyers +102. Over under 6.5. Overs -1, or even money. Unders -122. Pens -1.5 is +198. Flyers +1.5 is -245. I'm taking the Flyers as a home dog. Again, Pittsburgh gets too much respect because of 87. And 87 is still a good player, but he's past his prime. It's like LeBron a little bit. But, yeah, so I'm taking the Flyers at +102. 8 o'clock, Stars Wild. Stars -140, Wild +116, over under 6.5. Overs +106, others -130. Stars -1.5 is +168. Wild +1.5 is -205. I'm going to take Dallas in regulation +105. And then 9 o'clock, Bruins Avs. This could be another Stanley Cup final preview. Avs -134, Bruins +112, over under 6.5. Overs -102, unders -120. Bruins +1.5 is -220. Avs -1.5 is +180. The Bruins are being disrespected here a little bit. They're tied for the most amount of points in the East with the Rangers. And Winnipeg has the most points right now. That's crazy. But, again, the disrespect with the Bruins and the favoritism for the Avalanche. Give me the Bruins at +112 to win that game. Okay, now we will recap the FCS championship game and look ahead to the big one tonight. So, the FCS title game, South Dakota State repeats as champions with a 23-3 win over Montana in Toyota Stadium as they cover, and the under hits. Congrats to South Dakota State, 15-0 season. They got it going right away in the first quarter. Isaiah Davis 6-yard run, 7-0, and then Nico Ramos gets Montana on the board with the field goal. And in the third quarter, they pulled away. Mark Gronowski 10-yard run, 14-3. And then Gronowski to Jaden Jenke, 23-yard touchdown. They went for a 2-point conversion that failed. And then Hunter Dutzman, 32-yard field goal with 56 seconds left in the third quarter. And then they ran up the clock, and that was it. And South Dakota State is your 2023 FCS champions. Congrats to them. They're the best team all season. That's 2 in a row for South Dakota State. And they have won 29 straight games. And next year, their first game will be against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. I saw, according to Brett McMurphy, he said that is crazy. So Mike Gundy's team is playing this team in the FCS that's won 29 straight games to start off next season. So we'll keep our eye out for that when that comes next season. So the big one is tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Number 1, Michigan. Number 2, Washington. At AT&T Stadium, the home of the Cowboys. It's going to be a really interesting game. Michael Penix and that offense has been hot all season long, with the exception of a couple weeks. And the Michigan defense is lights out, as we know. Although Alabama did score a little bit on them in the semifinal, and Washington's offense is better than Alabama's offense this season. So, I think Washington can score on Michigan's defense, and they've scored on good defenses throughout the year. Oregon's defense, although Michigan's defense is better than Oregon's. Texas's defense wasn't that good, as it turned out, but I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think. My line here is Washington by 1, total 53 and 720. It's the only reason why I have Washington as a favorite here is because of the absence of Zach Zinter on the offensive line for Michigan, and Michigan's giving a whopping 5.5. Total is 56.5. I'm taking Washington plus the points and plus win 58 outright. I think that, like I said, Penix, I think, has a chance to be the best player on the field. Michigan is missing a starter on the offensive line. And I think that the one thing that makes me worried is Michigan's pass rush is elite. And they can, I think, can bully the Washington offensive line a little bit. And Washington has elite weapons at receiver, as we know, with Roma Dunze and Jalen McMillan. And then Michigan's best offensive weapon is Blake Corum, who was probably the best player in that Alabama-Michigan game on New Year's Day. So I'm going to take Washington plus the 5.5, plus 158 outright. I think we see an upside here, and the Washington Huskies will be your 2023 NCAA FBS champions and the last one of the 4-team college football playoff era before it goes to 12 teams next season. Okay, now we'll move on to soccer. We'll go over the results from the weekend and all of the leagues and look ahead to everything going on today. We really didn't have much over the weekend. We had the FA Cup. Ton of games. Friday, Brent Wolves 1-1 draw. Fulham over Rotherham 1-0. Tottenham over Burnley 1-0. Maidstone United over Stevenage 1-0. Coventry over Oxford United 6-2. Ipswich over Wimbledon 3-1. Leicester over Millwall 3-2. Newcastle over Sunderland 3-0. Blackburn over Cambridge 5-2. Sheffield United over Gillingham 4-0. Birmingham Hull 1-1 draw. Watford over Chesterfield 2-1. Brighton over Stoke 4-2. Southampton over Walsall 4-0. Bournemouth over QPR 3-2. Plymouth over Sutton United 3-1. Norwich City Bristol Rovers 1-1 draw. Newport Eastleigh 1-1 draw. Chelsea over Preston 4-0. Swansea over Marcombe 2-0. Sheffield Wednesday over Cardiff 4-0. And Aston Villa over Borough 1-0. And then yesterday, West Ham Bristol City 1-1 draw. West Brom over Aldershot 4-1. Wrexham over Shrewsbury 1-0. Leeds over Peterborough 3-2. Nottingham Forest Blackpool 2-2 draw. Man City over Huddersfield 5-0. Luton Bolton 0-0 draw. And Liverpool over Arsenal 2-0. All right, today 3:15 we have Wigan and Man United. We know who's probably favored in this game. Man United's minus 600. Wigan's 13-1. The draw's plus 550. For this one, I'm going over 3.5 goals at plus 144. Copa del Rey this weekend. Round of 32. Saturday, Atletico over Lugo 3-1. Getafe over Espanyol 1-0. Girona over Elche 2-0. Ray over Huesca 2-0 in additional extra time. Alves over Betis 1-0. Real Madrid over Arandina 3-1. And yesterday, Celta Vigo over Emerbita 4-2. Mallorca over Burgos 3-0. Sevilla over Racing Ferro 2-1. Osasuna over Castellón 1-0 in additional extra time. Salamanca and Villarreal was 1-1, but it got abandoned. Valencia over FC Cartagena 2-1 in additional extra time. Athletic over Eibar 3-0. Real Sociedad over Malaga 1-0. Barcelona over Barbastro 3-2. And Tenerife over Las Palmas 2-0. Copa del Rey resumes in the middle of the month. Serie A over the weekend. Friday, Genoa Bologna 1-1 draw. Saturday, Inter Milan over Verona 2-1. Monza over Frosinone 3-2. Lecce Cagliari 1-1 draw. Sassuolo over Fiorentina 1-0. And then yesterday, Milan over Empoli 3-0. Torino over Napoli 3-0. Lazio over Udinese 2-1. Juventus over Salernitana 2-1. And AS Roma Atalanta 1-1 draw. Coupe de France. Round of 64. This is one we didn't even go over. So Friday, Racing CF over FC Chambly 2-1. Fagnes over US Covelli 1-0. Rodez Aveyron over Challenge 4-0. Valentinez over Saragueme 2-0. Nantes over Pau 4-1. Metz Clermont Foot was a 1-1 draw, but Clermont Foot advances 3-1 on penalties. Saturday, Trilsac over Frabgues 4-1. Romartin over Moulin 4-0. Lille over Golden Lion 12-0. Orleans over Nimes 2-1. Paris FC over Olympique 2-1. Le Puy over Lyon Ducherry 2-1. Brest over Angers 1-0. Dunkerque over St. Omer 3-2. Les Hebers and Chitero 2-2 draw, but Chitero advances 4-3 on penalties. Entente SSG and Bordeaux 1-1 draw, but Bordeaux advances 4-2 on penalties. Strasbourg over Avenine 4-0. Montpellier over SC Amiens 2-1. Sochaux over Lorient 2-1. Nice and Auxerre 0-0 draw, but Nice advances 4-2 on penalties. And then yesterday, Marseille over Thionville 1-0. Lyon over Pontrelier 3-0. Lens Monaco 2-2 draw, but Monaco advances 6-5 on penalties. Havre AC over Caen 2-1. Rennes over Guingamp 2-0. St. Priest over Fiers 5-3. Reims over Dinan Lejon 3-0. Stade Laval over Dieppe 4-0. B. Perigord over Libourne 2-1. Rouen over Luhan's Sero 2-0. Toulouse over Chambéry 3-0. And PSG over Revel 9-0. I'm just going to double check to see if there's any soccer that is relevant coming up that we have to talk about. Everything looks like they're coming back on Friday. I just have to check a couple other things, such as Eredivisie's Friday, ELC Friday, Scottish Premiership, not back until the 23rd. We have Carabao Cup this week, so that's something to look forward to. And then no Saudi Pro until February. So there you have it for soccer. Now we'll do the results from the Tournament of Champions for golf. Your winner, well, it's really called the Century. Your winner with the score of 29 under is Chris Kirk. Second with 28 under, Steve Figlia. Third with 27 under, Jordan Spieth. Fourth with 26 under, Byung Ganon. Tied for fifth with 25 under, Colin Morikawa, Brian Harman, JT Potson, Sanjay, Scotty Scheffler. Tied for 10th with 24 under, Xander Schauffele, Jason Day. Tied for 12th with 23 under, Seb Straka, Patrick Cantlay. Tied for 14th with 22 under, Eric Cole, Patrick Rogers, Harry English, Max Homa, Tyrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick, Ashke Bahita, Adam Hadwin. Tied for 22nd, 21 under, Luke List, Evan Van Rooyen, Victor Hovland. Tied for 25th with 20 under, Mackenzie Hughes, Saiwoo Kim, Nicholas Echevarria, Taylor Moore. Tied for 29th with 19 under, Adam Schenk, Lucas Glover, Kurt Katayama, Wyndham Clark, Cam Young is tied for 33rd with 18 under with Brendan Todd, Adam Svensson, Corey Connor, Sam Birds. Tied for 38th with 17 under, Tony Finau, Taylor Hogue. Tied for 40th with 16 under, Justin Rose, Adam Putnam, Matt Wallace. Tied for 43rd with 15 under, Dylan McCarthy, Emiliano Grillo. Tied for 45th with 14 under, Keegan Bradley and Tom Kim. Tied for 47th with 13 under, Nate Hardy, Ludwig Aberg, Tommy Fleetwood. Tied for 50th with 12 under, Seamus Power, Camilo Vegas. Tied for 52nd with 11 under, Ryan Henley, Davis Riley, Cam Davis, and Nate Taylor. 56th with 10 under, Ricky Fowler. 57th with 9 under, Lucas Hodges. 58th with Anders Hideki Matsuyama, and 59th with 6 under, Victor Norman. Next up is the Sony Open. It's this upcoming weekend from Waialae Country Club in Hawaii. So we'll do tee times and picks for that. We'll do that maybe the Wednesday podcast, if not definitely the Thursday podcast. So we are looking forward to that. Now we'll go over the news for today. A lot has happened over the weekend. There's a lot of celebrations due to incentives. Chris Jones got a sack bonus. Jadeveon Clowney got some bonus for the Ravens. Puka Nacua breaks the rookie records for all-time record for catches and receiving yards in a season by a rookie. And he won't win Rookie of the Year. And I remember Odell Beckham Jr. had those records, if I'm not mistaken, on the 6-10 Giants that year, and he was the Rookie of the Year. And he was only the Rookie of the Year because he played on the Giants. That's just facts. But he was the best rookie that year, of course. But, I mean, if he was on another team, I don't think he would have won Rookie of the Year. The AFC North has some history. First division to have every team finish with the winning record since 1935. That is something I predicted before the season, that every team or was it that division or the AFC East? I know one of them I think it was the AFC East. I had everybody with the winning record. That obviously did not go well with Rodgers getting hurt and New England being really bad. Arthur Smith was living on the sideline. He looked like he had enough. It was probably his last game. By the time this podcast is posted, I wouldn't be shocked if he already was fired. The Lions trolled the ref controversy as the Detroit's social team had jokes for Taylor Decker's arrival. J.J. Watt was loving Tennessee winning, crushing the Jaguars' playoff hopes. I mean, I looked at that thinking he was rooting for the Steelers because of his brother. Which we'll get to in a second. Did anybody see that brutal Colts play? Jonathan Taylor was watching from the sideline, and they threw a pass to some no-name receiver. That was just an atrocity of a way to end the game. I don't want to hear Shane Steichen and Coach of the Year conversations anymore. Screw him. Derrick Henry, I thank the Titans fans. Possibly his last game in Tennessee. He's going to be a free agent. Justin Fields addresses his Bears future as he said it could be his last rodeo in Chicago. The Jets likely trading Zach Wilson. I mean, who's going to take him and for what price? He might get cut for all we know. Remember Johnny Manziel? He wasn't traded. He got cut. Like, Zach Wilson wasn't as bad as Johnny, but, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he's outright cut. The Commanders expected to fire Ron Rivera. That's not surprising. Jim Harbaugh, open to NFL return as he will welcome interest amid links to the Chargers and the Raiders. And teams were inquiring about him. Although it was reported Arthur Blank has gone back and forth on Arthur Smith's future. David Tepper may opt for a clean slate as he is expected to fire the GM too. Mike McCarthy's rumored to be on the hot seat as the belief around the league is that his job depends on the playoff performance. That's not surprising. The PWHL, Minnesota made history with the largest crowd for a professional women's hockey game with over 13,000 fans. Some crazy baseball news. It's the Dodgers on Teoscar Hernandez, 1 year, $23.5 million. That's insane. Absolutely insane. They have like a super team. They better win the World Series. And then their rival, the Giants, made a trade for Robbie Ray on Friday afternoon as Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani head to the Mariners in the deal. I like the trade for the Giants. They needed a pitcher. Looks like they're not going to get Blake Snell. And Robbie Ray's a good pitcher. The Mariners just have a lot of youth in their rotation. I guess they have to trade the veteran and go with the youth. They're just a team to me, the Mariners. They might be just in a little bit of a retooling, rebuilding phase. And how about this? The Red Sox make Kenley Jansen and Masataka Yoshida available for trade. I think Yoshida's going to have some value. I really do. Mets signed Sean Manaea, 2-year deal, $28 million. Not a bad deal. I kind of like that for them. I like it, Manaea, good pitcher. And then the Mariners were working on another trade as they're looking to get Luke Raley from the Rays in exchange for Jose Caballero. That would be an interesting deal for Seattle. And St. Louis and the Rays are talking, apparently, as the Cards want to get Andre Kitteridge from the Rays for Richie Paleko. There is a playoff tickets tweet from the Jaguars that did not age well. Everybody was freaking out over the weekend with Dabo Sweeney. He had a black guy at Clemson's basketball game that had everybody freaking out. Hopefully he's okay. This was awesome. Randy Moss and Alex Smith, their first entries into the College Football Hall of Fame class. They were surprised with the announcement on Sunday NFL Countdown this morning, which was awesome. Adam Schefter actually broke the news on Twitter before they found out. I mean, lucky that those two weren't stalking Adam's Twitter. All right, how about this? 2025 number one prospect quarterback Bryce Underwood picks LSU over Colorado, Alabama, and others. So that's a big get for LSU. Number 6 overall prospect, 5-star cornerback Devin Sanchez picks Ohio State over Bama and A&M. So big get for Ryan Day. John Harbaugh will be in Houston to watch Jim coach on Monday, so that's pretty cool. Well, today. And then Jim Harbaugh wants profit sharing, as he says everyone should take a 5 to 10% pay cut and split it with the players. And then former Alabama center Seth McLaughlin committed to Ohio State. Giants head coach Brian Daboll was roasted by a reporter as he was in awe of a reporter's hair. And then rumors has it that the Giants are sticking with Daniel Jones in 2024, as that the expectation is Daniel Jones will be the week 1 starter next season. That's not promising for a lot of Giants fans. I mean, there is a case to be made to bring him back and take a offensive lineman with their first-round pick and try to be more like the team that won a playoff game rather than the team that went 6-11. Jalen Hurts' finger popped out as he's taking injury day by day. Sam Laporta likely to miss time, suffered a hyperextended knee and bone bruise. And now everyone's going to kill the Lions because you're saying the Cowboys were never losing to Washington. You should have sat everyone. Well, I care that they played everybody because I had Lions -3. But hopefully Laporta will be okay. Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle did not play against the Bills last night. And then TJ Watt suffered a knee injury in that Ravens game. And it was reported that he likely sprained the MCL, which was the right call of the injury. And then J.J. Watt actually broke the news of his brother's best-case scenario. Trevor Lawrence played in the Jaguars' must-win against the Titans yesterday, but Christian Kirk did not, and the Jaguars still lost. T. Higgins did not play against the Browns yesterday. Devontae Smith and Darius Slay did not play against the Giants. Josh Jacobs did not play against the Broncos. Other news, USA Hockey wins the World Junior as they beat Sweden 6-2. And that was pretty cool. The NBA reinstated Draymond Green as he served a 12-game suspension, underwent counseling and progress meetings. And apparently things are okay with him and the Warriors. The Lakers signed G League wing Dylan Windler to a 2-way deal after a stint with the Westchester Knicks. That's not nothing. Windler was playing really well in the G League. But I would have, if I were the Knicks, I would have given him some run. A wing that could rebound. The Knicks waived Taj Gibson as the contract was due to become guaranteed yesterday. They shouldn't have signed him in the first place, but they just did that as a placeover. And then they got Precious Achiuwa in that OG trade. Colin Gillespie ripped Villanova after its loss to St. John's. Cooper Flagg went off in a high school basketball game, 23 points, 10 boards, 9 blocks. He's going to be awesome. LeBron was at Stanford, USC. That doesn't surprise me. Phil Martelli shares a moment with his son, Jimmy, after Michigan and Penn State played. So that was a nice moment. Former 4-star quarterback Eli Holston transfers from Bama to Pitt. Former 5-star quarterback from the Trojans of USC, Malachi Nelson, goes to Boise State. Alabama lands 2 recruits, number 4 overall safety, Xavier Mincy, and number 15 overall running back Daniel Hill. Bad news for the Warriors despite Draymond being back. Chris Paul out 4 to 6 weeks, undergoing surgery to repair fractured left hand. How about this? Moses Moody, unhappy with Warriors roles. He's seeking more consistency after his 3 straight did not plays. Steve Kerr addresses the Jonathan Kuminga rumors as he wishes comments were kept in-house, but still believes in him. The Kings pull out of Pascal Siakam talks. Right call. I don't know if I like him and Sabonis together. How about this? The Hawks sellers at the deadline is the Hawks looking to build around Trey and Jalen Johnson. DeJounte, Capella, Bogdanovich, and Hunter all available. That's according to Mark Stein. And then Draymond Green is expected to need a week to ramp up the game shape. That doesn't surprise me. Bad news for the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard took a hit. And then Khrushchev went after Brendan Smith. And then Bedard, turns out that he fractured his jaw, which is not great. Hopefully he'll be okay. LeBron says we suck right now after losing to the Grizzlies the other night. Couple draft news is Texas tight end Jatavion Sanders declares, and Malik Neighbors, the LSU wideout, declares. The Bears are not decided on Justin Fields as Chicago needs to evaluate him against all quarterbacks it could draft number 1. If I'm them, I keep Fields and then trade back again. I saw CBS's Adam Shine say, keep the pick and take Caleb Williams. You don't even know if Caleb Williams is going to be better than Justin Fields. Last time we had this generational quarterback come out, they made the playoffs last year, missed this year, and were a favorite in that division before the year, and they blew it. I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, so I don't want to hear about how Caleb Williams is going to be all of a sudden somebody's savior. Maybe he will be down the road, who knows, and don't forget, the Panthers traded up to get Bryce Young, and it turns out the Texans got the better quarterback than C.J. Stroud, at least for this year. So, yeah, tanking's overrated. I think the Texans kind of proved that a little bit with him falling back to 2, taking Stroud, as the Panthers took Young. And then you rather have the guy that we know rather than the unknown. And Justin Fields really showed promise at the end of the year this year. But today's game wasn't great. And that's what I don't like about Shine. He always comes at his takes whenever something he's right about comes to fruition. Whenever he's wrong, he hides under his pillow and doesn't admit defeat. Couple soccer things. Tottenham in advanced talks with Leipzig. With Timo Werner, so that's big. And then they got the deal done. And then Cancelo injured his knee, and they hope he recovers in time for the Super Cova. So there you have it for news and notes. And last but not least, my just today brought to the schedule. Okay, I'm just going to make it very, very simple. It's Washington plus 5.5. I just want action on the game. And I think that the Huskies are going to come through. They have the better quarterback. Michigan has the better coach. The better defense is Michigan. But Michigan has a key injury on their offensive line, like I mentioned earlier. And I think Penix is on a mission. So I'm going to take Washington. Let's do a... debating a half or a quarter. You know what? Let's do a half. Half unit on Michigan. On Washington plus 5.5 against Michigan. And I'm also going to take it plus 160 as well, but not for best bet, though. Best bet's plus the 5.5. And then obviously I'm taking, and I just took a little bit of Washington on an adjust over 2-1 because of a 30% profit on FanDuel, so that's pretty neat. So there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, look at everything. Tomorrow we have a portfolio pick, NHL New Year's resolutions. We just never got to it today because of all the football talk. And we have a lot more to do tomorrow as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.